Hello, 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 everybody. Good to see everybody. Just to let you guys know that in Lynn's area, there's a really nasty thunderstorm. So if something happens with the screen, it's not like,
The lights
we
just
lost
flickered.
power. It just flickered. So just bear with everybody. As Miranda Hart would say from her amazing The Miranda Hart Show, bear with, bear with. Hello, Lisa. Good to see you. Thank you for being on here, Lisa Randall and Cindy and Michelle Maybell. Hello, Milady creates so much more. Hello, good to see you. Ellen Jane, come back to the five and dime. Ellen Jane, good to see you. Peggy, hello, Peggy. Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue. Good to see you. Maria, hello. Tina, Tina. Hello, hello, hello. Lisa, good to see you. Bears, what bears? Bears with, yes. Cindy, I love the music. I'm dancing. Thank you. Hello and good evening. Hello and good evening. Rudy Rodi Rada, hello, Rudy. Good to see you. And Riva, hello. Thanks everybody for being on. I'm super excited about having our guests on this evening. And Chris, hello, Lynn and Elias. Hello, Chris. So glad to have Lynn on, you guys. And Beth, good to see you. If I missed saying hello to you, I know that StreamYard does this kind of funky stuff. And so if I missed your comment, please know it's not deliberate. It is not deliberate. So welcome. I want to introduce you to Lynn. We'll always say hello to everybody as they come in, but I want to introduce you to Lynn because I think this is a really fascinating topic about fulfillment. When you think about fulfillment and ADHD, it's like, does the ADHD mind ever feel fulfilled? Is it always like, oh, is there, or, ooh, I'm right. I'm fascinated with everything that's right. And what did you say? No. Ooh. So that's my visual, everybody, for ADHD.
I love it.
That's my visual. Facebook user, are you visible? You are this way, but I don't know who you are. Rachel Elizabeth, hello, my friend. So good to see you. So good to see you. So I want to introduce Lynn Baldridge, and this is her below. You'll see that this is her email. You'll need that later for a special offer coming up soon. That's Lynn B at ADHDclarity.com. Let's say that again. Lynn B as in boy, as in Baldridge, at AD as in David, HD as in David, clarity.com. So super excited about having you here. We're talking about fulfillment in a chaotic mind. And that's like, just that is like, how do I like have a conversation with you and not go, squirrel? It's just.
My dog does that all the time.
Yeah.
Squirrel, funny.
It's Kathleen. I don't know why you can't see me. I don't know why I can't see you either. Rachel says, hi, Lynn. I've been looking forward to this chat. Excellent. So let's just do this. When did you realize that you had ADHD? Or should we just tell everybody what ADHD is first?
One or the other. Let's talk about what is ADHD.
What is ADHD? Yes.
Okay. It's a really good question, and it really depends on who you ask. If you look up in science journals, you're going to get a very sciencey answer. But I wanted to just say a few things about it. I am not a therapist. I am not a neuroscience. And what's really exciting is that there's lots of new research happening now, and people are learning so much more about it. It is not that boy that got distracted and couldn't sit still in class. It's a lot deeper and broader than that, and that's what the research is starting to show. Simply put, our brains are wired differently. We need to be interested in something as much as we need to be able, breathe air. If we don't have interest, we're like, we just want to go to sleep. Um, with the big shift is that, for a long time, it was considered a behavioral disorder. You acted badly, let's say.
Sure.
You couldn't get stuff done, you were a distraction in class. But what they know now that it is a developmental impairment. And I'm sorry, sometimes I have to look down a little bit because my own I have ADHD and my short-term memory is sometimes non-existent.
Mm.
Um, it is a developmental impairment of the brain's self-management system, which is your executive function. So you'll hear if you look more into ADHD, you'll hear a lot about the executive functioning skills, which if you don't have strong ones, it's hard to get through life. So those are the skills that help you plan, prioritize, get up in the morning, get started on your day, finish a
Hmm.
task, do the dishes, pay your taxes, all of those things that are sort of life maintenance. So some of you might be nodding your head, or you live with somebody with ADHD, and man, it's hard because, particularly if they're not diagnosed, because they can't get shit done. Um, and there's so it's really great that the shift now is not, it's not you're bad or you're lazy or you're dumb. It's there is a neurological difference in your brain.
Mm.
Now that is generally true for all neurodiverse people, and if that's a new term for you, that includes about 20% of the world's population is considered to be neurodiverse. That could be OCD, autism, dyslexia. There's a whole range. I don't know, there's like 15 or 20. And ADHD is included. The other thing I want to say is you may have always, it's like, what is ADD? I thought it was ADD and not ADHD. So recently, sorry, recently, the powers that be have, you'll still hear it used a lot, but the powers that be have consolidated into just ADHD. And that is because, um, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Okay, great.
So much to say about that term, which is negative. But the H, the hyperactivity, is the part that was always obviously seen in young boys in the classroom. And all the research was done around that. But only very recently have researchers, doctors, scientists begun to see that for girls and for women, that hyperactivity is still there, but it's inside. Actually, everybody with ADHD is hyperactive inside, but you don't always present it hyperactivity out, that hyperactivity externally. You learn to mask, you learn you're behaving, you want to fit in. And so as a result, they've created 3 different flavors or types of ADHD. There is your traditional hyperactive, impulsive. There's inattentive, which is, like, oh, I don't have this super energy that ADHD people have. That's because you could have inattentive, which means you really suffer from a low dopamine neurotransmitters and your energy is really low. And then there's the combined type, which I'm guessing I am. I don't know, eventually just kind of sort of figure out which one you are. Um, okay, so I'm going to read a quote and then we can move on to the next question about me, but I also, maybe we could answer some questions too.
Okay, yeah, we have a couple questions that came up.
All right, I just want to read one quote. So, doctor,
Sure.
if you are interested in learning more, this short book written by, it's called
You're good.
ADHD 2.0, written by Dr. Hallowell. I want to read this quote from his book. Having ADHD makes life paradoxical. You can super focus sometimes, but also space out when you least mean to. You can radiate confidence and also feel as insecure as a cat in a kennel. You can perform at the highest level, feeling while you're feeling incompetent as you do so. You can be loved by so many, but feel as if no one really likes you. You can absolutely, totally intend to do something, then forget to do it. You can have the greatest ideas in the world, but feel as if you can't accomplish a thing.
I
It's
love that.
complex.
That's a great
It's
quote.
complex. Yeah.
That's a great quote. Lisa Randall says her husband and her son is ADHD. Um, Angela says hello. Darren says hello. Heather says hello. Danielle says going to sleep is my coping skill.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Very
yeah.
important.
Chris says, what do you say to parents who don't want to admit a child has ADHD?
Mm. Okay, so caveat. I am not a family therapist. I would just say that there's so much more research now, and I would start out, and maybe you already know, like, oh, there's the Attitude magazine website is one of the really sort of baseline places. It's called Attitude, ADDitude mag.com, I think,
Hmm.
or books like this, and have them spend a little time. The other thing to really probably would help is, um, you want to set your kids up right from early on, because the sooner you can support a child with ADHD and give them the environment and the tools they need, they will thrive. If you don't, life is going to be really hard for them. And I can share some of my own experiences. It's hard for all of us as it is, but
True.
you know, yeah.
Maria says, how do you tell the difference between ADHD and procrastination?
Oh, that's a great question.
Hmm.
Um, the best way I can answer that is we all procrastinate. Nobody wants to do their taxes. Um, ADHD is really like it's like all of these things. It's not just you procrastinate and therefore you have ADHD. But do you also have trouble focusing? Do you also maybe suffer from anxiety and depression? The other, I want to very get across that, like for myself, I was diagnosed, and this is very common for women, and it's just becoming, people are realizing now, women, girls and women, been treated for anxiety and depression. Boys were treated for ADHD, right, or ADD at the time. Um, Women are treated with for anxiety and depression. And as any feminists out there, like, oh my God, of course, right? Just pop a Valium or something. No,
Right.
yeah. So it is. It's. I think reading about it, learning more about it, can help you understand, because there's so many layers to it, and everybody's a little different. Everybody can be very different and still be ADHD.
Yep. So I would research, Maria, would research, because I think part of the procrastination, depending on what form of ADHD, from my understanding,
Hmm.
it's kind of like this. It's like it's a marriage between ADHD and procrastination, but there is some sort of trigger, if you will, or I would research more. Kathleen says, I was diagnosed with ADHD after returning from deployment. Was told it was part of my PTSD.
Oh wow, that's a big one. I told
Yep.
Elias earlier, like, talking about ADHD can go in so many directions. So I
Hmm.
love this forum because you guys are just sucking it to me. Um, there is similarities. I want to be careful because, again, I'm learning to articulate this more. I'm not a doctor, but post-traumatic stress syndrome. There is a high it's called comorbidity, but a co-relationship between trauma in general and
Hmm.
ADHD.
Hmm.
So, um, let me pause for a second. Yeah, it was part of your PTSD. So that's the problem, is because doctors today will say, "Oh, you're depressed. Oh, you have anxiety disorder. You have general anxiety disorder," which is what mine was for your depression, and then led to anxiety disorder. Oh, you have PTSD. And I think the more, again, it really comes down to being your own a researcher and learning. And I'm happy to, obviously do more of these to help with that. But, pick up the book, go to the website, because a lot of doctors just don't know. And that's what's so fucking frustrating. They really don't. It's not like they're bad or mean. Some of them just don't know the science yet. Or, they don't think the research is strong enough to tell you that.
It's
But if
sad
you
though.
think you have ADHD, what I think is like, if you have done research and you're pretty sure you have ADHD because you like check all the boxes, there's all these, you know what? You have it. Just like
Yep.
it's just these are issues you have. So why not use the tools to help you? I think, if you're looking for medication, that becomes a whole other story.
Angela says my ADHD was never hyper. Oh, my son has, pardon me, Angela. My son has ADHD, but was never hyper. His short-term memory is horrible. Well, better as an adult, but almost non-existent when a child. Fascinating. Darren says
Yeah.
I feel like I was okay in class, but also masked it. I zoned out more, had in the clouds.
Yeah.
Yes. Emmy says,
I
my
don't too.
therapist realized I had ADHD when I was in my 50s. I want to bring up a point really quick, guys, because I want to make sure that we touch upon it because it's something that Lynn and I talked about when we said we were going to do this, and it's just fascinating. Heather says, I'm underdiagnosed, I'm undiagnosed and a financial advisor. I just started working with someone with ADHD. She was so afraid that I would judge her, put her down because of her past financial struggles. I'm so grateful
Mhm.
I get to work with her and help her build her up. I love
That's
that. Hi,
wonderful. I'm so
hi,
glad you're open to
Stephanie.
that.
What kind of doctor is best to diagnose for an adult?
I'm sorry, but right now, um, the first of all, you can look up, go to talk to your doctor, and there are. I'm sorry I laughed, but it's a pain. You can talk to your doctor and get referred to places that do diagnoses. The waiting lists are really long and they're expensive. So you can do that. I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna have my daughter get a neuropsych because I want her to make sure. I think she's got somewhere on the spectrum.
Yep.
Um, but there are online tools I can. I'm actually working on using an online one right now to see what I think of it. Um, and I can make that available to people who ask me about it. Send me an email and I can send you the one I'm trying out. You'll also read in the news that there's all these online platforms now and organizations that are over diagnosing. And there's a big, I think it was PBS or BCC, BBC did this whole negative documentary on what's happening out there and painted it in a very negative light that people are just getting diagnosed like crazy because they want their Adderall. It's not easy. My situation was I had so much shit happen. I had been lost I'm sort of jumping. Should I jump into what happened to me real quickly?
Well, that was my next question. I just want to go
Okay.
over this really quick.
Okay, because
Dolores,
that'll sort of still to answer her question.
yeah, Delora is putting this on my resource book list. So thank you, Delora, for putting that
Oh,
on there.
perfect. Okay.
Um, you have ADHD with 22Q. Okay.
I don't know what
Um,
that means.
how do you overcome ADHD paralysis?
Yeah.
Wow. Um,
Yes.
okay, hang on. I'm
One
just looking for. Lisa said, had a doctor that said ADHD and sensory disorders are very common. It's only come to light 10 years ago. Wow. Julie
for
can't
women in
drive.
particular
Yeah. Julie can't drive because of hers.
because of
Um,
anxiety.
yeah. And Kathleen says, not the VA. The VA doesn't have that.
Mhm.
Um, around here, it's the go-to diagnosis. Understood.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
went through a lot of testing for it last year, and in the end, they said I can't separate my ADHD from my CPTSD.
I don't know what that is, sorry.
I don't know what that is either, Rudy. What is that? So, and yes,
Eventually I'll know.
here is her Lynn's email, which is lynnb at adhdclarity.com. So what we're going to talk about, guys, and thank you everybody for commenting, really appreciate it.
Mhm.
What we're going to talk about is what happened with Lynn. Oh, complex PTSD. Thank you. Yes,
Complex trauma.
mental health just in this country sucks. I know, I get it. Um, so what we
Mm.
want to talk about is Lynn's story, what happened, and here's the part that we want to like kind of highlight, um, ladies especially, is the perimenopausal
Peri
So,
perimenopause. You can just say perimenopause.
perimenopause. Why do I want to
I'm
put the
trying to teach him.
I know I want to put menopause in there. So or
You want to
menopause,
put premenopause. It's a
premenopause, peri
perimenopause.
peri
Perimenopause, fine.
yeah, what peripause. We're gonna put the peripause in there.
Yeah,
Not the kitty
yeah.
paws, but the peripause. Okay. So sorry everybody. So Lynn, go
Yeah,
ahead and tell everybody your
yeah.
story.
Number one message, I want to get to that. My other number one message, though, is I just want to thank Elias for inviting me on this because honestly, I've been working with Elias as he being my coach for over a year, and he really lifted me up from the bottom lifted me off the floor to the point here where I'm launching my own business. And I just want you to know, if you haven't worked with Elias yet, he's amazing. He can read you quickly. He knows where you're at and can help guide you forward. So
Thanks.
that's about Elias. I love Elias. Okay, so what do we? Oh, my story. So cut to the what happened most recently, and then I can back up a little bit, but all gets kind of boring and well, I've been there, right? So what I learned recently, and the number one message I want all women to go home with, and men who are close to women who they want to support, is big news. I think the research happened a couple years ago, but it's just starting to really percolate up, is that hormones, probably for men too, but I have to learn about that, particularly estrogen for women, has a direct relationship with the neurotransmitter called dopamine. And dopamine is that major transmitter that helps your executive function. Without any dopamine, you don't really want to get out of bed in the morning. You don't want to wash the dishes. You're tired. So somebody said, how do you get out of analysis paralysis? There's like all these strategies, and I'd love to work with you on that sometime. It's really hard. It takes practice to shift your thinking. Drugs can definitely help with that, but I'm not taking medication regularly. I'm trying out different things, and I'm finding ways to do it without, like, you have to force yourself to get up and go for a walk. Okay, so what happened for me was I was doing well career-wise. I always knew something's a little off, but I never had a name for it. I only recently have a name for it. Perimenopause hit. My doctor was like, "Oh, you can get off the birth control." That was, my estrogen. So I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess you're right. I'm not going to have any more kids." I was in my mid 40s. Late, I had my daughter at 43 though. It's pretty amazing. So my late 40s. You're like, you're still taking the birth control pill? So she said, "Just get off it. Don't ever just go cold turkey off a birth control pill." Okay. Nobody should anyway. So I'm still mad about that. What happened was I went cold turkey off of estrogen, the birth control pill, and basically my life just started to do. Wait, I'm falling off the screen. Yeah, thank you. So, I had a young daughter at the time. I was married, had a young daughter, a corporate job. Um, my anxiety gone through the roof. Depression was back up there. Um, my ability to really thrive at work slowly but surely fell apart. In my 50s, leading up till very recently, I quit before I was fired, but I was fired from 3 jobs in my 50s. And I kept going back. I'm a product management strategy person. I kept going back. I can do this. But there's the reality of that I didn't know, which is my dopamine had bottomed out because my estrogen had bottomed out with perimenopause and then into menopause. Your estrogen bottoms out, and so does your dopamine. Nobody talks about this. Your doctors don't know this. They will. They're starting to get to know, but you need to you need to know this and bring this to information to your doctor. Bring it to your wife. Let people know. If somebody just got off their birth control pills. I've had 2 clients so far say to me, "Oh, so That's why when I got off my birth control, everything fell apart and my relationship broke up, things like that. So I lost 3 jobs. I also, went through a divorce, um, which is a good thing. It's okay, but a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
I also learned that I really was self-medicating with alcohol, um, which I've also learned is a very common thing people do to help calm down their brain and also just get over the negative feelings that you have at the end of the day because you tend to beat yourself up so much. There's so many on that. Before all this, I was a classic, girl and then woman who went under the radar because nobody was researching folks like us at the time. I did pretty well in school. I skated by until college. I was able to get into a good school. Then college, I really struggled. And I just thought, God, I'm stupid. Like, what's wrong with me? And then like now I'm having these flashbacks. Oh, that's why I had so much trouble with my final senior paper. That's why I couldn't write a dissertation. I didn't even know where to start. I had no idea. Um, and then yada yada yada. My 20s were kind of lack of focus. Um, and but I did pull it together. I got an MBA, a business degree. I got married. I had a kid, and then menopause was a tipping point for me, big time. And that's a huge message that I want to make sure everybody here is hearing. The number one thing. You can just say menopause now, Elias. You don't have to keep saying
Mm,
perimenopause. Perimenopause.
Perimenopause. But, everyone is
Yeah.
saying, you know, just went off hormone therapy, no estrogen intake at all. Julie says, wow, I'm 43. That explains so much. Um,
And it happens
whereas,
throughout your cycle. So girls who have ADHD and they're not diagnosed, they're going to be impacted, through the cycle because your estrogen goes down during your period. So you're going to have
yeah,
all these emotions, and people with ADHD feel things very deeply. That's one of the hardest part about having ADHD is that it's not that you have a lack of attention or an inability to be attentive. It's that your brain is a Ferrari. It is a Ferrari. Think of a car. Dr. Hellwell came up with this analogy. Your brain is a Ferrari, which means it's going fast and it's thinking about so many things, and you are smart, but you have brakes like a bicycle. And so you get exhausted and you get overwhelmed. And also, your brain moves faster than your mouth. So sometimes you start talking, and this happens to me
yep,
all the time. And it's like, wait a second, I can't articulate. I have no idea how to say what I'm thinking because my brain just went like a 500 miles ahead. The great thing about this brain, there's so many. I want to actually jump to some very positive things if I can.
sure.
You feel free to
Yep.
interrupt me, which is one of my I don't believe in this like, you know, what are we calling it? I'm forgetting the word now. But superhuman, like, oh, I'm not, it's not a disorder. I'm a superhuman. I don't really go there. It's my superpower. Yeah. I think that's a little overplayed, although my superpower, if I was to use it, is that I can connect the dots on pretty much anything before anybody in the room can.
Hmm.
And it really helped me in my career as a product management strategy. Like I could look forward, I could figure out what happened to happen next, and I could read people in the room. Sometimes that's too much because you feel so much. But
Right.
the way the brain works, it picks up so much information. That is one of the main reasons you're so tired. And I say you, like obviously not everybody here has ADHD. I'm just saying you, if you're an ADHD or neurodivergent in general, you could have some of these similar.
And that's why, Rachel says here, what about being an empath and having ADHD? So think about if you are an empath and you're not grounded and you're picking up other people's stuff,
Mhm,
plus the ADHD, you're
mhm.
exhausted. You're
Yeah,
exhausted. And that is challenging. Dolores says,
I can
doctors
relate
say
to
they,
that.
yep, doctors say they won't test hormone levels until full on menopause. Can one push for just an estrogen
Absolutely,
and
fuck yes.
yeah,
Say, "I will." No, give me a fucking test. or go to the nurse, go to another doctor in the office and say, this is not okay. They can't control whether you get a your insurance. It might be your insurance talking. So I want to be careful about that
Yeah.
because that sucks too. If your insurance is saying that, you might have to pay for it. Ugh, that would suck.
Angela said this makes so much sense. Kathleen says, yes, that's how I am. Tina says, Elias, I think this is me. Joy says, this explains that. Aren't you glad you guys were having this talk? This was such, because
Oh yes, let's get
fulfillment
to
of a
fulfillment. I have
brain
something
is
about that.
all over,
Yeah.
right? So go ahead. And then we got to get your other stuff in that I want to talk about for you.
Oh, you have more. Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's go. You go, and we'll come to that.
Oh, no. I was just going to tell people what you're offering, but we got to make sure that
Oh, okay.
we fit that in
Oh,
there.
okay.
So go
That's
ahead.
boring. Okay. How long does this go?
Well, we've got about 45 minutes-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on how, yeah. All right. So I did think about this, Elias. The fulfillment part. Okay. I'm gonna get emotional thinking about this. When you grow up undiagnosed, you develop you are constantly comparing yourself and being compared to people who are neurotypical, who just get shit done, to overthink. You have very strong emotions. You feel, not everybody's the same, but you could be a very strong empath. You feel, my daughter is. And so that can lead to depression, anxiety. It can lead to meltdowns. And you think somebody criticizes you for being weak, or you're having trouble articulating, so you're called stupid. These things build up over time. And unless you're, and this is another reason to make sure kids are treated and understood at a very young age as possible. Once you are diagnosed, or even if you're not, but you like, honestly, what I did is my doctor was like, yeah, you're shit. She's known me a long time. She went, yep, you have ADHD. I'm going to diagnose. Like, it was one of those. I was very fortunate. I didn't have to go through a long one. But then looking into it, what happens is you're like, oh, so there is this, it's crazy how much goes on with this diagnosis. But at least unknowing that, oh, there is such a thing. I'm not stupid. I'm not lazy. The lazy is a big one for me because managing my energy is so hard. But knowing like, oh, okay, I can take a nap during the day because everybody should be able to take a nap during the day. But maybe you feel guilty
Yes.
about it, right? But
Right.
like, I am so fucking tired. Why am I so fucking tired? Now, part of that is age. I'm 59 years old. I know I don't look it. But I often just masked. I didn't like, honestly, I'd probably take a drink of alcohol to wake myself up later in the day, not in the evening type of thing. But now I'm just so fucking tired and I'm not drinking. And I need to go to sleep. And that's because your brain is on hyperdrive all the time. That's one of the main reasons. And the dopamine gets sucked up and used. And then you're spent.
Right.
So understanding these is like you can breathe and you can be like, oh, and there's something called neuroplasticity. It's proven, it's science, that we can actually train ourselves to have new behaviors, new ways of reacting to things. It takes time, just like any habit, but your brain will can get rewired in certain ways. So in cases where you tend to overreact or get really angry, I used to get really angry at stuff. Understanding this about yourself, you can take a deep breath and be like, oh, maybe I should take a breath, take a calm down. Hi,
And
sweetie.
they're
We're gonna wrap
people
up soon.
you guys, they're people that you need to share this with. You need to share with people like, hey, I need your support. I'm going through this right now. I need to have
I'm sorry, Mike.
this and that. No, you're fine. You're fine. Dolores says, I thought symptoms were post chemo, but 3 years later, yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, that affects your estrogen big
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So
And you know, where is she? Where are you? Joyce says, how do we fix this? Well, and then Joyce said, I'm going back on my hormones as soon as possible. Um, you know, So, Megan says you're not alone. Me too. Yeah, I mean, this is really important, guys. And Lynn's job, as she develops her clientele, Lynn's job is to recognize that A, you're not crazy, B, you're not lazy, C, you're not stupid, and D, this is coaching is done.
And D for dopamine.
D for dopamine. When you coach with Lynn, you get a free prescription of dopamine. So, so it is really something to look at, and when you're getting coached in this way, from what I'm guessing, there's a understanding of like where are you at, where it doesn't have to be let's jump 15 feet. It can be did you jump an inch? Excellent. Let us celebrate that 1 inch that you jumped, that one spot. And
Mhm.
Lynn can tell you that when we've coached together, um, it is it is not like, oh, you didn't do your homework or no, I didn't do this. I'm like, did you get out of bed today? Excellent. Let's celebrate that. Let's just celebrate
I love
that.
that. I was like, "Oh,
Right.
yay, I still do that. Like, "Oh, I just
Right.
made my bed. Yay, high five."
Yes. Yay. Um, this is explains so much about my son. His dad would not get him diagnosed for fear of him being labeled.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's much
Yep.
more common now, though. It's almost a thing to be neurodivergent. It's almost cool.
I want to be free X of dopamine. Uh,
Mhm.
Hey, Christy, good to see you. And guys,
Hey, Christy.
Christy has done some coaching classes or coaching sessions with Lynn, so that's awesome. I'm late, but I'll do the rewatch, no problem. Um, so I want to. Rachel says, "I literally thought I was going crazy, and I chased dopamine." Yeah,
Yep,
I mean, it is. I've
that's
just
the
made an appointment for
classic.
tomorrow. I'm not supposed to take pills, but I'm going to.
Yeah, you know what, just listen, as you get I don't know, have any idea what you're older, but, like, at my age, I'm not going back on estrogen. I have to find other natural ways to do it.
Yeah, you got this, Joy. Um, I'll watch the rest later. Thank you so much. You're welcome, H. You're welcome. Lynn is amazing. I highly recommend. She's so patient, kind, and compassionate. Thanks, Christy. That's beautiful. Thank you. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about you have you as you develop deeper into this, you're going to do what coming up?
Great. And I actually have a daughter melting down upstairs because she's got a math final tomorrow. So I'm gonna
Yes,
do talk about this and then how to reach
you got to
me,
run. Yep,
and then I gotta run.
that's what I was
Classic
feeling. So that's why. Yes,
meltdown.
I
Thank
got
you.
it.
As I was like looking over there. Okay, so okay. So just briefly, my background is, I've had a corporate career forever. My product management and strategy, which is gives me a great background in helping people plan. And a big part of how to work with ADHD is to break things down into little steps. So that's one of the things that I'm just like super good at. One of the main things. But my approach is I've also taken some, gotten some certificates in just general life coaching, finding your passion, things like that. But I've also just started a year long training to get certified as an ADHD coach. So while I'm doing that, that's that. So I'm building my credentials. I'm doing tons of research. I have ADHD, so I can feel it. So I am launching my own coaching business this year, this summer. At the end of July, I'm going to offer a free workshop for those of you who are interested. Please email me. And right now, I'm trying to get my website synced up with my email and all that stuff. So I am on Instagram. I'm on TikTok now. I have a Facebook page. But if you just email me, I'll create an email list for this free webinar. Um, and then out of that, for early adopters of my coaching program, I'm going to offer, some early pricing options. So we're talking about at least 4 weeks of meeting once a week for coaching. My approach is to really get to know you and where you're at. And it's an emotional thing. There's trauma involved too. So while I'm not a trauma informed coach, I am familiar with trauma, and I do have some experience with learning about the different kinds of trauma. Um, then there is working on, okay, what are some of the tools that will work with you? Try them out. Picking a goal to work on and putting it into practice. So we can work together for an extended period of time, or even just get you sort of be a springboard to help you understand how to thrive, because you will thrive.
And as Lynn said, you guys, this is going to happen in later July, and also with that that webinar, you can get a free consult, and
Sorry,
just
thank you.
email.
Yes.
You're welcome. I gotcha.
When you attend that webinar, you will get a free consult from me about
Yes,
my coaching and
right.
how you're doing.
So attend the free webinar, get on her, email her and say, yes, I'm interested in July. She'll put it somewhere, and then she'll let you know when it is. Yes, we can say a quick prayer for Lynn's daughter. We can, totally.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina. So we ask that our guardian angels surround her and help her and calm her a sweet little heart and calm her brain and let her know that she's going to be great and she is great. We ask that Archangel Michael and Uriel and Ariel and Raphael and Gabriel be with her and just support her. And we ask that her ancestors are with her and surround her with love and joy. Amen. Okay. All right.
Thank
I know you got to go. Thank you so much for being on here and giving this amazing stuff. Christy said she has brought game-changing methods to me, especially daily scheduling. It's really worked for my particular brain and is unique neurodivergency. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys. As always, we are here. Lynn, go ahead and run. I'll wrap it up. Thank you for being here.
Okay.
So next week, guys, so you know, Moira's going to be here, and I'm just going to remove Lynn from the stream. There we go. Moira's going to be here, and Moira Scullion is going to talk about fulfillment of self through a meditation altar, kind of like that one behind me over here. And we'll talk about that next week. Now, if I can ask all 33 of you, all 33 of you, to join me on Monday, June 19th, Liz Dawn will be here, owner, or CEO and co-founder of Celebrate Your Life Mishka Productions. Please be here. We want to blow Liz out of the water and be like, what? Look at all the people that are here. So it's a special live, fulfilling your magical life. Thank you, Delora. Fulfilling your magical life. So you want to be here. Good morning from the UK. Good morning. Good morning. So again, special live Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. I will have a little flyer or something out, but I wanted to have Lynn up on here, and I want to thank her again for being on here. I want to thank all of you for being here, and it's an important topic, you guys. It's an important topic. How do you do? I'm doing well. How do you do? And remember, guys, I will be back on tomorrow. If you're on TikTok tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern, for a little guided meditation, a little group read, and a little chit chat. I'm excited about what's coming up, guys. And Job Coach Amy is coming up on June 22nd. That we're going to talk about career fulfillment, and that is June 28th. What to do for a job, how to get hired. It is what to ask for in the interview, how to answer some questions. And she is the author of this book. I want to make sure nobody's behind me. This book, dun, 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 dun. Ah! Okay. Got it. College to Career by Job Coach Amy. Okay, so it's fascinating. She's a great person, just amazing lady. All right. Yes, that's Princess Amy from the retreat. Yes. So, all right, everybody. As always, we are here to connect. And when we connect, we educate. And we educate, we grow. There is unity in community. From my heart to yours. Thank you so much. Make sure that your notifications are on so you know when I'm on. Okay? Check your notifications, sign up for the email. There's a lot going on and you don't want to miss out. Okay? All right, everybody. Have a beautiful night. From my heart to yours. Be well. Take care.